But just to sum it up, you know, I mean, we're about 33%, you know, into where we're going to be before we have to play the first game. You know, we'll add about 30 teammates, you know, at various times in the summer, and they're all important. Our depth is not very good right now, but that'll change when you get a whole bunch more kids on your team. So, you know, from where we're at, we got a long ways to go. You know, it's you know, we had some plays, we made some plays, we scored some touchdowns, but a lot of turnovers too. So when you look at that from an offensive perspective, you know, you made some plays, but you turned the ball over. From a defensive perspective, we gave up some plays, but we got some turnovers. So somewhere in the middle of all that is going to be a good football team. But we got, you know, we got 3 months in the summer, and you know, 30 days in the fall to get ready before we got to play a game. So then I'll take some specifics.
What jumped out at you from tonight? I mean, you mentioned the turnovers there. Is that the defense playing well, or was that sloppiness on the offense?
Well, I don't know. Turnovers are somewhere in a combination of both. You know, it's a mindset defensively, but also it's being careless with the ball offensively. I think quarterbacks made some bad decisions and force some things, especially on the sidelines. You can't force balls late like that on the sidelines. So this is kind of reckless from a quarterback standpoint, but you know, you got to have guys break on the ball and make a play on the ball in the air too, which we saw that, you know, which was good to see as well.
Coach, this is the first scrimmage that or first spring game that I've seen in which the defense won. Can you explain why?
Well, the trend lately has been defense getting after the offense for about the last 5 practices. I would say, you know, the first 10, offensively, we did some good things, but then probably in particular the last 5, maybe the last 6, defense has been doing a lot better. And I don't know how many spring games you've seen, Nikki, but I've seen a whole bunch where the defense pretty much dominates the offense because you go against each other every day. They know our calls, they know our checks, and we don't use that as an excuse at all offensively, but it's fairly common. There's a lot of very low scoring football games when it comes to the spring.
Are you happy that this is going to be the lasting memory for the offense heading in? I know they've gotten a lot of run and a lot of credit for what you guys did in the Orange Bowl. Do you think heading in on maybe not a stellar performance would be motivation?
I don't know what you consider a stellar performance. We're playing a whole bunch of people that aren't going to be playing in the fall, right? So, you know, there's guys in there that if we're playing with them, we're not going to win. That's spring. You know, and you play everybody. But if you get right down to it, there's probably a collection offensively of about 16 people that are actually going to play in the game. Once we figure out who those 16 are, I got an idea who probably 14 of them are. But once we figure the other 2 out, I think we'll be pretty good offensively.
Dana, you said heading in that you needed to see more consistency out of your offense heading into the Big 12 season. I mean, perhaps not today withstanding. You can talk about the spring as a whole.
You know, I mean, nobody's happy with where you are after spring, just because you're playing so many different people. You know, I know who the guys are that are going to be playing the majority of the snaps, and the closer we get to a game, the more we'll hone in on those guys. You know, and that's when you can kind of figure out if you're becoming a consistent football team or not. Until we hone in on just those specifics, it's going to look like crap, I can assure you.
Who opened your eyes this spring?
Offensively, overall, the 2 young kids that we talk about a bunch are Jordan and Carl. You know, Sean Walters, you know, he started making some plays as well. You know, I mean, we kind of knew, you know, you know what you're getting in the Joey Madsons and the Tavons and Sean Austin, you know, Will Clark, Darwin Cook. You know what you're getting with those guys. It's a lot of the younger kids, you know, watching those guys develop. Dante Campbell made some plays today. KJ Myers made, you know, he's made a few plays. All those young guys, they got to just keep coming. You know, I mean, they made a play here and there, but whether we can really rely on them to do it in the game or not, time will tell.
And Jordan Thompson today, specifically, what did you think of him?
He's fun to watch. They call him Squirt. Big Squirt. He's kind of fun to watch. Hops up, gets hit as hard as anybody ever gets hit out there, and he hops up and bounces around. It's kind of fun to watch.
Dana, the things about your offense and having a whole bunch of guys that if you have to play with them, you're not going to win. Do you think the same is to be said or similar about your defense?
Yeah, but we got a long ways to go because it's new. There's 7 or 8 starters, coming back, but Terrence Garvin's a guy that we're going to be able to count on. You don't see him out there. You don't see Snow out there. You don't see Pat Miller out there. So, you'd think those guys are going to be starters, but you really don't know because it's been opened up, and you probably see a 2 deep on the defense that we'll continue to evaluate them to see who's going to win those starting spots. It's a little more clear-cut offensively just because we're a year ahead.
In terms of offensive tempo, do you feel pleased with where that's at through the spring?
Yeah, I guess. The tempo's not bad. I mean, we can vary our tempo and stuff. I'm happy with how we work from a tempo standpoint. It's more about execution than it is tempo. We got the tempo figured out. It's just how it looks once we actually snap the ball.
Were you pleased with that, the first 2 series? That looked to be about as fast as you've ever run off?
Yeah, it's because I let Shannon call it today. He's a fast-paced, he's a spread it out, throw it every down. He's more than I am. I'm a little more conservative being the head coach. He don't really care. We let him do it, and he did a good job. I was pleased with how they communicated from him to Gino and Paul, and then Gino and Paul to the rest of the guys. I sat back there right behind the quarterback for the first time ever, maybe, and I thought they communicated well.
You watched them all spring, but did Millard show you, something today?
Yeah, Paul's, he does a good job making decisions, and he does a bad job making decisions, but he does a good job of forgetting about it and moving on. You're gonna, as a quarterback, you're gonna make some mistakes, and he's a kid that'll throw a pick 6, but then get out there and make that same very throw again. He's got a short memory, which is important.
Did what happened to Josh last year, is that the biggest fear of a coach in a game like this? You obviously didn't have that today.
Well, yeah, it's it's part of the game, though. That can you can't protect your guys, so it's that one happened to be in the spring game, but Pat Miller got rolled up in practice 8, and that's every bit as devastating as practice 15. So it's part of the game. You just line up, you don't protect them, you let them play hard. People get hurt when they get complacent and they're not playing hard, so to speak. So.
Dana, you do a bunch of clinics and stuff like that over the summer, right? Camps going around, workshops.
Yeah.
Do you when you come back the next time and you meet these guys, do you think you'll have anything new to experiment with, add?
Probably. I don't know what it is yet.
What I'm saying is you feel like you have a pretty good core on offense and ideas and guys know what they're going to do. If you find something you really like, do you think that these guys can handle it, or do you just want to stick with what you have?
No, I think defensively we're probably got about half our stuff in right now. It's harder to put in all your stuff defensively than it is us offensively. So we'll probably come up with some more wrinkles. That you never know when those ideas are going to pop into your head. 2 years ago, the diamond formation popped into our head in the summer after some talks. In December the little huddle thing popped into our head, and we implemented that. So all kinds of crazy stuff going on up here. You never know what's going to surface.